himself and a bunch of kids and a bunch of coworkers. But the system don't work. Tremaine does. I mean, but the system don't. It don't. And no matter how many young teachers you bring in, or no matter how many principals you rearrange, no matter how many people you elected to HIC board, it won't change. It makes the system that we live under, the value system that we live under, won't allow positive change. You had a president, black man, elected overwhelmingly. And as soon as a whole bunch of people who ain't black looked at very carefully at the screen, they discovered there was a black man they elected, and they freaked out, man. And they have not recovered yet.
Not at all.
And I'm going to start answering phone calls. And I'm frustrated only because I can only see one answer for black people and people of, shall we say, social awareness. Get the hell out of here. Go someplace you can live and do it. You're not... There's a term I could use to describe where I think we are in this system. But this time of night, it wouldn't be cool. So, give me an hour or so. But there's some people on the line. The phone number is 713-526-5738. This is not a gumbo. How frustrated are you? Do you really think it's time to take it to the streets and do what with it? Once you get in the streets, what are you going to do? Who's going to listen to you? You think they're afraid of you? You think they give a damn what you think? How many times have you gone to a ballot box and voted for a representative, and what do you get? You look at the media, and they tell you what they got. You got leaders. That's what they say. Those Tea Party people, those Republicans, those Democrats, they are leaders. Is that what you meant to do?
Not at all.
Man, you made a mistake. Those are dummies, man. They can't lead themselves to the toilet unless they have an aide making $80,000, $90,000 a year.
They're part of the system.
I don't even think they're part of the system. I don't think they're aware that there is one. I think the only thing they think they're aware of is the distance between them and the bank. kPFT on there.
How y'all doing, man? Pretty good.
I don't know. I just sort of gotten when I saw I'm gonna sort of nominate this show for Geronimo Pratt. Not only because he was a righteous brother, he spent 27 years after being framed by the FBI, and he was framed by the FBI. He took 27 years in prison, and he got his $4 million compensation, and he split. Right on. He got his money. He didn't hang at all. He said, "That's it. I'm gone."
Yeah, why waste your time?
Yeah, and he didn't leave. He could have done all kinds of things with $4 million and probably done some small, tiny amount of good. He just no, I'm getting out of here.
Well, you know what, Clif, what Mr. Pratt realized is that, you remember the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
That's what we live in, where people are programmed to where they see what they want to see. They're programmed by the media. They can't see what's really the underlying fact, because, you know, in The Matrix, they had the guys who were behind the scenes that really were running everything, and people would believe in this because, you know, they give them certain creature comforts, and they don't want to look past that. Remember the guy that betrayed Keanu Reeves because he just wanted a piece of meat?
Right.
You know, basically, look, signs and messages are given to people, but the problem we have is there's this one ancient quote. When you have a good leader, you replace him with a better leader. And the problem we have is that we put people in office who have no vision. And when people talk about doing for self, that's the problem we have. They go up there and they do for self and self only.
Right.
And the problem we have, and let me get this Miss Dave. I called a previous show and they called me Dave. That wasn't Dave, that was Miss Dave. But I want to finish those thoughts when we come to education. When you go to school, and I can almost imagine you had problems in school because you was a thinker. You were not one that was easily programmed. Teachers are basically, let's use this computer software programs. They are programmed by their education to come and program you to think the way they want you to think, the way the system wants you to think. And the kids who sit there and say, now wait a minute, this don't make sense, and the ones who question, they become labeled as problem students because you're not fitting into the program. You know, you got two kinds, the kinds that are geniuses, and you got the kinds who they label, you know, government take the geniuses away, we don't see them, but they got the kind where they listen to special ed and have problems, and they give them all this flack, so the kids end up being like social outcasts. But, you know, and every time I run to the streets, how many Asians have you seen picketing?
They don't.
Well, look what they got. Exactly. So, you know, it gets to the point where I hear people, you know, it's good to have a plan, it's good to try to do things, but it's to the point where you have to sit there and say, like Mr. Pratt, I did all this for these people. And, you know, and what really gets me is the Christian side of it. The man they called Jesus, Yahshua, came down, did all this stuff in front of him, still didn't want to do this, that, and the other, gave his life, supposedly gave his life and everything else, and they still do the same thing. All throughout their Christian book, leaders have been sent to these Israelites. People don't want to listen. You're wasting your time. The best thing you can do is that if each one of us get our life together, then everything will start working out. But when you know, even the man Yahshua told his disciples, you go to them, tell them what you got to say. If they don't want to listen, keep their dust off their feet, keep on going. Our job is to share the information. It's up to them to listen. If they don't want to listen, Clif, don't go home having a headache. Don't stress yourself out because there are some people who are successfully programmed. And another thing, if education was working so great, most of the people in our representatives come from these top schools, right? Yale, Harvard, all these top schools. Look at the damn country. If education is so great, and you want to go to these high education institutions and all that, look at our country. Look at it. All these guys are highly educated. All these women are highly educated, come from this. And they come from these families with folks have this, you know, so-called billionaire everybody else. Look at our country. Look at it. Somebody explain to me, the education system is so great and all this stuff. People need to understand, when you go to school, good, I taught for 8 years. I stopped. Jermaine, I commend you. Okay, because I was just like you. But I saw the system. And it's like you by yourself. And the kids, they want to listen. They will listen. But you have this overwhelming force that's against you. And the problem is you don't get the support you need. You know, that's why I'm commending you. Don't you know, do the best that you can. Do what you can. Don't go home having a headache. Don't stress it. You just do what you can do, and that's all you can do.
You know what? Let me say something right quick. I got a bunch of phone calls too. You know, when I went to school, elementary school to high school, I went to a segregated school, and I've said this time and time again, I was better off. The teachers may not have been the most brilliant teachers in the world, but then I'm not sure what it means to be a brilliant teacher, but they cared about me, and they did what you just enumerated. You know, they encouraged me because they knew it was going to be a reflection on them how well we did when we got out. So they had something invested in me. I was part of the community. I might have been the first black man in my family who went to college. And it meant something to them. We no longer have that. We're really gone. That's gone. Because the population of teachers that are left, most of them don't really care about black children or Hispanic children. Or, for that matter, as some people said, any children.
Itself. Let me say this. Let me say this because I know you got to go. You remember the biblical story about Esau and Jacob?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, this may sound off the chain, man. This may sound far out there. But you got Bin Laden and you got Osama. It just came to me, man. If you clean up Osama, cut off the beard, trim down the hair, and look at the two people, they ain't that much different for us looking at similarities besides skin color. You got some variations, but you look at it. You have, throughout time, two brothers. I'm not talking about just these two. I'm talking about two brothers that fighting each other all this time. And right quick, again.
You mean Osama and Obama?
Yeah, I mean, Man, I'm serious. Just clean them up. Clean up on something. Look at them. Look at them real good. This is just mine. Maybe before I did, it's just my opinion. I'm not trying to make nobody believe this. But right quick, when you go to school, the best way for a kid to get out of that school is memory. What that teacher give you, you give it back. You pass the class. They take away a child's creativity and they take away their imagination. They don't want you to be a thinker. They want you to be a software program. Do what I tell you to do. You don't. How many can we keep in the box? We're going to have some outside the box, but we want to get 99% inside the box that's going to think